Go.
We're just gonna go. Okay. I guess
Let's
it's
do
going
it.
to this
Okay,
character
we'll
here,
do it
joined
live.
by Darth Micro with another video. We're gonna be going over the winners and losers of the new patch. A ton of heroes just got buffed. So we're gonna be breaking them down, the ones we like the most, the ones we're actually gonna be using now that they are buffed, and then there's also a few of them that are unfortunately still trash. We're gonna announce the winners. I have the codes. Definitely join the Discord. That's what will be announced. There's a separate place for giveaways. Go there if you won. Awesome. Also, I will comment on the comments of people that actually did win, so you know. So that's for the giveaway we did a while ago with 20. So if you win, you get 20 pulls. So pretty dope. Okay, so now let's actually break this down. First one on the list, because we are looking at the patch that's on Yumi Love. Yumi Love, great resource, because we got banned from the Discord. Both of us can't even see it there, so that's why we are. So first character on the list from a Yumi Love. Evelyn, first on. Have you gotten a chance to use the new one here?
Yes, I have. I
And
actually
what is
just
your
used her
thoughts on
today.
being able to call it? Because the big change is on her A2, she can now call someone into assist. So that's, and what do you think of that? Do you think that's enough? Not
It's
enough?
actually, well, I mean, I think she was already good, so I didn't
Yep.
feel like she needed the buff, but I'll take it, and I'll say that's kind of nice because the defense down 2 is applied before the ally goes, so
Okay,
the
that's good.
ally gets the benefit of the defense down 2, from what I can tell. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no, I mean, obviously it's good. There's not really a lot else to say about it. I think that one of the biggest problems she had was having her on your team almost makes you not do that much damage because all she really
Yep.
does is the bonus turn, and then she doesn't really do anything other than like kind of like the defense down, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
so her damage is pretty weak. So this gives her like a little bit more pseudo damage in a way. I think it's kind of a smart addition. You know, it doesn't make
Yeah.
her overpowered, but it makes her better if you're calculated at who you bring onto your team. So I think it was a smart
Mm-hmm.
add-on. And I do like that they're making the light dark legendaries like stronger. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
completely agree. Because before I was looking at them, and then they were neat. They were not only super niche in when you can use them, but then they weren't that good. Like, and then
Yeah,
now
they just kind of
Euron
felt
and
bad.
Krazerzug and the ones you have Euron and you have Imogen, and they're
Yeah,
all amazing heroes now. So
yeah,
I think that's really cool. Because before I believe it was just the corrupt Aurak was like the only good one, in my
yeah. One of
opinion.
the better ones for sure. And
Yeah.
yeah, I would say Euron was not near as good as he was now. I mean, now he feels
Yeah.
pretty good now.
Yeah, he's pretty sick. So I'm glad that they're looking at her, because I pulled her. I barely used her. I was like, okay, she's just a late game hero. And then when it comes to like Void Tower and stuff, I still barely use her, because they still get to go. And then you, like
I
you're
think it
saying, the
helps her a little
damage.
bit. Helps her a little bit in the guild boss too. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
she never really felt like a staple there. And most of the
Yes.
time, not having the affinity bonus is a problem for her, and just
Mm-hmm.
makes her not really be that strong against it. But now that she can call in somebody else that does have the affinity bonus,
Mm-hmm.
makes her, a little bit better too. So anyway,
I feel like
like I'm saying,
thinking
I think
about.
it's a good addition.
I agree. I feel like how you can make her busted is if you release someone that's absolutely nuts, and then
Yeah,
yeah, and
yeah,
then she becomes amazing, because you got to pair them.
agreed.
Okay, so next we have Brand the Brilliant. I think we both don't have him, but
Both don't have them. Yeah, hard to
it's
comment.
just hard to comment. But they just increased his damage from 100 to 150, and then the ultimate went from 100 to 120%. I think they're just trying to compensate a little bit for his true damage nerf, which
Yeah, and
I think that's fine.
well, because before, from my understanding of it, is that he was really good in the guild boss, and that's why everyone loved him. But the way he was working in the guild boss was technically like a bug. So, from
Yeah.
my understanding, he doesn't do as much damage in the guild boss anymore, and so now he's like not as good. But I'm guessing they're trying to compensate for the fact it was a bug, probably.
Mm-hmm. Um,
But it's hard
and
to
so
say, other than it's just a
yeah.
damage increase. Doesn't really change anything
Yes.
about him, other than he's just X percentage better. I don't have him, so I can't really comment on it.
Mm-hmm. I've been seeing him. He reminds me of like Chris, kind of, where it's a super rare character, but it like super good for progression. And in that sense, I
Yeah.
don't know if his kit's like, they're not comparable kit wise, but just on what he brings to the table, where you're bringing this guy. Like, I see him in Queen of the Tides, I see him in the Guild Boss. He seems like very, very versatile in where you can bring him and actually be useful. And so it's having more damage. I mean, I'm sure everyone's gonna like that if you actually are lucky enough to pull him.
I think
Next
the
we
big
have,
winner is Yolanda out of this one. I feel it's like
ooh,
the biggest winner.
biggest winner. Okay, so
Yeah,
well,
for
let's
me.
skip to her for someone a little bit more exciting instead of just going down the list here. So, what do you
There she
like
is.
about Yolanda?
So Yolanda, go up. Yolanda has the bonus turn, and then it's up into your right there. Yeah,
There she
top
is.
right.
We found
So
her.
now she has the bonus turn on her A2, and the A2 is a pretty decent, like, low cooldown of only 3 once you have it booked, right? And it's
Hmm.
2 turn from the immune attack up, but giving a bonus turn at the end of it, there's not many people that have giving a bonus turn. And what I was figuring out with her is she's such a good hero in terms of like support type of hero, sustain, benefiting the team with the shield, keeping people alive at the end, that the
Hmm.
bonus turn ends up just giving your team more damage too. So it's like you no longer really sacrifice not having somebody that does as much damage because now you got a bonus turn. And also combos really crazy with like we were just talking about Eve First on. Like I was just playing Eve First on, Winstrex, and Yolanda. And if you bonus turn the Eve, it goes Eve, she ults, everyone gets a bonus turn except her because Eve doesn't bonus turn herself. Then Yolanda bonus turns the Eve. Winstrex goes, resets Eve alt. All 3 of your people go. Then Eve goes
Uh-huh.
again, gives 3 more turns, and you end up having like a set of basically like 7 to 10 turns in a row. So
Pretty
having that
crazy.
bonus turn, I feel, is like a really rare mechanic and is super good too, especially because you're giving them a bonus turn with immune and attack up.
Yes. I really like the additional attack up on someone that I'm giving bonus turns to, and the attack up 2, not just the normal attack up, but the better version of that. And then how the shield scale where you get crit resistance and stuff. I can see her being a really good arena unit. Like when it comes to crit resistance, because PvE stuff doesn't really crit that much. So that portion of it seems to be very PvP only. And then I really like this. If I'm not going against Corrupt Aurak, I really like having something like this here where I can go give them immune but attack up on my nuker and have them completely pop off here. Because another character that does something very similar, that the only reason why I even know that like something like that, how powerful it is because Mary does something almost identical where she goes
Right.
grants a bonus turn and goes damage up and immune for 2 turns. So it's pretty sweet. I like it a lot. And then now having the option of, because I feel like Mary is like something really quick. Like if you're gonna get them out of there in a couple rounds, whereas Yolanda is gonna be that long con, like where you're gonna want to grind them out for a bit. You have the crit resistance and a shield. You have ways to make sure people don't die. You have ways to cleanse people with the auto attack. So having both options there, I think, is really cool now.
I just overall think that having more people with bonus turns are going to eventually be pretty strong in PvE once somebody figures out the math of like unkillable comps, because now we're starting to get enough of the
Hmm.
bonus turns and the unkillable types of team. I think someone's going to figure it out eventually.
Yeah, we're getting there. Yeah, with like, because we're getting a lot of them. It's hard now in this game because you can't lab people to like make it to where it'd have to be the perfect combo of bonus turns and then enough to get back to the unkillable with Mary or Social Kane.
Yep, and they
So,
would have them covered in between the cooldown
hmm,
timing or something to be the only way.
yeah. Oh, maybe it would be that, and then so you cover the AOE, but then the single target you'd have to use the summoner spell. You'd have to use the one that prevents people from dying.
There it is.
There it is. And
Genius.
then and with Yolanda, she has guard. So then you have the summoner spell to cover, and then you have the guard up every 2 rounds. So what you can time it to where she, with her passive, blocks the punch. Yo, maybe she's the answer here because of this. Her passive, she'll keep people up because you just have to ascend her too because it's on a 2 turn cooldown. Whoa,
I've been
guard
messing
for.
around with her a pretty good amount today in the guild boss, trying to get the bonus turns to work with like Eve and Winstrex, and there's something there, but it's kind of hard
Hmm.
to get just right. So I haven't got it quite yet. If you can figure it out, I'd be impressed because it's gonna take a little bit of time.
Hmm. So it'd be fun. It'd be fun, like because having this
Got her
like
ascended
essentially.
though.
Yo, yeah, you have her ascended, so yeah, you actually have something there. So yeah, it'd be fun
Shot.
to try that out. Okay, next big winner, in my opinion, is gonna be Hydra because
Oh
for
yeah, it's a
her,
good one.
she straight up was not nearly as good as she needed to be. And then they finally buffed her. And this is something I really like about her change is they made RNG conditional. And then the conditions actually, like, I like this kind of thing. If you're going to give RNG for a move, make it something where we can at least proc it that fits thematically. So she's an AoE character. They made it to where now you can guarantee her bonus attack if you're hitting multiple targets. So if you hit 4
Yeah, if you
targets,
hit
boom, it's
4 or more, yeah.
yeah, and then it's guaranteed. So it makes her on par with the other starters that do the same thing in Evra in other elements. So Evra and Valeria, now Hydra, are all on the same page kind of when it comes to the amount of damage they do, stuff like that. I feel like she does less damage, but she makes up for it in very low cooldowns and multiple hits. So you'd be able to like use like a rebel set with her, and it actually be really good.
Well, and I think it's important to make heroes like reliable. Like if you make a
Hmm.
hero where what their entire purpose of their kit is, it happens like half the time. It's really hard to ever use that hero in anything
Yeah,
because
completely agree.
you're always gonna prefer 100% clear rate over a 60% clear rate. Like you're just not going to use somebody that's unreliable. And so being able to, where it's like, okay, there's 4 people, so I will get that extra. Is kind of nice.
Yeah, I completely agree. She's
It's
now
a
like
good
super
good pick on
viable.
this.
Yeah, oh, I appreciate that. It's I think it's really good for Void Tower and for Ash because we really don't have that many options. Like, yes, Nathalia is like the go-to, and I still think she is the go-to even though she requires setup. But now you have more options. So if you haven't pulled her or you don't have her Ascend 2 and you don't have enough damage, you have a combination here, or you can rely on her to be able to actually clear that. So I like that because Ash is. I think that's the best dungeon. If I had to pick a dungeon that I would farm from here on out, is probably Ash.
So I think Hector's another good one that got a big
Yes.
win, and I want to say that this patch is one of the better patches because I feel like all of their changes are like smart changes. Like
Mm-hmm.
applying a focus boost to himself before he throws his axe is like perfect way to handle the fact that building Hector feels terrible because you have to have enough focus to land the axes. And
Yeah.
I just think that's a really good addition. I mean, they did the same thing with Sierra, and I think her basic that increases the damage taken as well. So I like that change, that they're looking at the game that way. And I think there's somebody, whoever is out there, like slowly making the changes, there's at least one guy who's got like a smart decision making, type of process.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad to see that because sometimes in these games you don't see smart changes like that at all, and it can be depressing. But I think seeing the focus up one before he throws his axe, like nice, we got
Yeah.
somebody
It,
that
it makes
understands the
it
hero.
makes it's such a big difference because it's so frustrating. Like getting that resisted when you're going through, and then because these characters like they're built to where you want to hit like an absolute truck, and for you to have to sit there and be like, okay, now I got to micromanage my focus on a character that's supposed to
Yep,
hit like an absolute nuke. Such a feels bad. So I completely agree that that's a really good change by them. So and that applies for both Hector and Sierra because the one that I had
yep.
familiar with is Sierra. Like I because it's such a big deal to have that damage up on her auto attack come through. And for them to just fix it with having the focus up is so great. So I can now just focus purely on like my highest
Agreed.
damaging average set or something like that. So really cool.
Really, just a good patch overall.
Hmm. I
Good
completely agree.
changes.
Like there's some heroes that I like that they're adjusting a lot of heroes, but some of them didn't get enough. We'll talk about. We can talk about it really quick in Belbereth. They just changed his passive, and this guy is just not used almost anywhere. And this would be a big feels bad because he looks badass, and I can totally see a lot of people in the beginning of the game picking him, be like, "Oh, I got a really cool character," and then you find out that he has
It,
almost no
it
use.
his kit is like counterintuitive. The only way, like I've said this time and time again, the only way to fix this guy is when he resurrects, he needs an immediate bonus turn. So that way, when he resurrects, he has a chance to be strong enough to kill somebody, so that it resets his passive, so he gets the bonus turn again, and then he becomes like an unstoppable god. Like that's
He's
the
like an
only
actual
way that
threat.
he's. Yeah, it's the only way
Yeah,
it makes
yeah, yeah.
sense because it's like, who cares if he revives? He's just gonna
Yep,
die again. Like it
completely agree.
doesn't. He's not, even if he gets his turn off. Like it's not enough. You need an immediate bonus turn that resets all your abilities, so you can just ult immediately, or else he's just gonna be a useless pile of dog shit basically forever. Because I
Yeah.
mean, what does anyone use him for?
Um, I mean, maybe Tolpla. That's about it. Maybe Guild Boss, but I mean that's only
Stressing.
because they don't have better options. Like there's epics better than them, so it's a bummer.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
I
Hector's
really like
gonna
that.
wipe the floor with them.
Yeah, like the bonus turn idea is really good. I think that's a great way to fix them.
Well,
You know,
it
and
fits thematically. It's like
yeah, they
when he
make it.
dies, suddenly he's a problem. You don't want him to die.
Mhm. Yeah, like I think it would be he dies, gets a bonus turn, and then they make that on a cooldown for like once every 2 rounds. So he can't just like you endless loop of killing him, and so it's um. But I think that's really good, and then especially and then it makes it because he's a 5 ascend. He's a which is
Yeah, which
insane,
is just
A-
pathetic.
and yeah, and so yeah, I think we completely agree here.
He doesn't even hit hard enough for it to matter.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
like he doesn't ignore enough defense or anything like that. It's not like Lydia where she hits and she's, oh shit, she dodged and now, you get deleted.
Oh,
It's just,
I'm
it's his
curious.
turn. Yeah.
What do you think of the Lydia changes?
I don't think it was necessary to make her lose 5% dodge. I really don't. I understand it's better pre-ascension, which makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
The 20% lifesteal is kind of a smart addition because her problem is she bleeds out to guild boss. Like she's good in guild boss, but she basically kills herself in guild boss with countering over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And the lifesteal I think can be kind of a smart choice. I just think it's a weird addition. I feel like the lifesteal should have been built into her counter or something, and
Uh, yeah.
just having
Non.
20%
He,
lifesteal is a little odd. I
well, it feels bad for a 5 ascension. Like imagine 5 ascending
Yeah,
this character and getting 20 lifesteal like that because you
just
get an
weird.
additional 20 on like Garel, he gets 50%, and it doesn't feel like much. Like when he's a little bit more survivable, but with it, but he's countering every single time, guaranteed every single time he gets hit, and he has 50% life still, and it doesn't max him out. He doesn't fully heal them or anything like that. So it's like
It
if there's
seems like a
anyone,
stupid change.
yeah, yeah,
But it's like I'm kind of okay with it because I have seen her bleed out to like the guild boss over and over again. So I'm thinking, maybe this is actually better. I didn't feel like her dodge was that much. Maybe I'm a little bit biased because I
Well,
like her,
I
but
I feel like she needs a complete rework. Like I would want her to be a character
yeah,
where what you can do, you completely change her passive, where you build like a stacking thing, so then she can get to, because I want 100% dodge at certain points. So like let's say she ults and then gets a stack of 100% dodge, or when she hits a couple times, then she gets a guaranteed dodge. So it's you can actually make it to the point where you can rely on these dodges
yeah,
built
I
into
can
her
see
kit.
that because
And
the
then whenever she
RNG of
dodges,
dodge is just a bad mechanic.
yes, I completely agree.
It's not it's like 35% of the time she's going to delete you randomly,
Yeah, 35% of the time she works every time. So it's like,
basically. So it's
well,
like,
yeah,
I'm
it's like
not
League.
I'm not opposed to it. I like the idea of the life steal in your kit. Like I get it. It's just it seems like weird. Like let's cut the dodge by 5%. It's like was 5% dodge really the problem with her? Like
Oh yeah, there were, yeah, that's what it was right there.
I
They
don't
could have
think
just
it was.
added the 20% life steals flat, and it wouldn't have been a big deal. You know, she's still
She's
not going to
still
get used
not
that
like
much.
that good. I think
Yeah,
I think she's frustrating to play against, but I don't think she's like a good hero. Like if that makes sense. Like I think she's annoying, but I don't
she,
think she's like fundamentally busted or anything.
so
I
I
think
was
she's
thinking
like
there's
kind of
certain
like
heroes. Well, sorry to cut you off, but like there's certain heroes that are not good, but they're designed to be annoying as hell in Void Tower. So
yeah.
there's 3 characters I can think of that are like that. In CC, it's CC, Lydia, and Edicris. Those
Oh hell
heroes right
yeah.
there are
Oh,
a nightmare in that game mode, but totally fine anywhere else.
those are good. Yeah, the dude, the old guy with the beard who like goes
Yeah, yeah.
immune.
He heals himself, cleanses himself. You know,
So annoying,
you
dude.
know,
So
yeah.
annoying.
That's so dumb. Okay, let's
So
see. There's a few more I want to talk about. A few more I want to talk about. So, because there's other ones that I would want to test. So I just want to bring up Magnar
talk
and
away.
Thomas. I want to test really
Oh
quick.
yeah.
But um, the
I
last one that I actually did test that I think is actually a really good change is Savannah. Um,
I think Thomas is a nerf, right? And I think Magnar I feel like is a sad change for me personally.
yeah, they
Because
kind of like
I
made him
liked his
boring.
exactly. That's exactly how I feel. Like I thought Magnar was one of the coolest designed heroes. I'm not saying he was good. I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
thought he was
Well,
very
it was
well
like,
thematically designed.
yeah, like he has 2 heads, and some of the time he goes twice, and it's like, okay, I
Yeah,
like that. That's
yeah,
a
I
fun,
liked it too.
yeah. And then they kind of
Um,
just like smoothed them out. They made him not as fun.
They made him just a bad epic instead of a
Yeah.
hilariously bad epic, which it's kind of better
Yeah.
in my
Well, he could be so much fun. Like they had a good concept there where it's like if he goes in and if he goes again, then it gives another proc. And then or if he attacks and if he attacks again, he stuns or whatever. It was really cool. Potentially. But I really like the changes here. These are just like flat buffs for Savannah, and she needed them because Antonua was just infinitely better than this character. And um what they ended up doing is making the scaling better. So she scales faster. So 30% in 2 stacks instead of 20% in 3 stacks. And then the 2 turn on the crit damage up. So very good. You with a cursed set, you can get the crit damage up too for like the entire match, like in Guild Boss. You can just have it
Yeah,
up.
I still feel like she needs more. My problem with her is like I never really felt like she wasn't ramping soon enough. I just felt like when she was ramped, I still didn't care.
Dude, she has
You
like
know
an
what I
absolute
mean?
truck now. Like I was hitting like 20Ks. Like my
Yeah, I know, but it's like that doesn't make me feel like amazing with her. Like
mm,
I've had the same thing, and then my problem with her is her passive, where
well,
it's
yes.
like, what are you gonna do? Build her to die on purpose? Like it
So
doesn't really make any sense.
I completely agree. She needs to rework on her passive because this passive, it very, very niche content. Could you ever plan for her to die? Make sure everyone else dies around her because it's random. It's like the problem Nicholas used to have. And then they just gave it to everyone, which is still a problem because it's not enough. Yeah, it should be like, even if you like, because when I like to look at like a broken situation, like it's like, what if we doubled it? Would it still be good? No, it's still yeah, so it's like, that's a problem. If you can like literally double it and still not want to do it because it's so RNG based,
You
how can you
can't
ever
build
plan
her
for it?
paper on purpose because it doesn't make any sense to build a
Mm-hmm.
hero just to get 100% of it of a hero's attack that you didn't build glyphs or whatever on or level up anyway. Like it doesn't make
Mm-hmm.
any sense at all. So it's not like a paper zombie
Yeah, yeah.
situation where you're purposely trying to make them weak. So it's not a smart hero that way. And it's like, yeah, I get that she hits hard, but her cooldowns are also like hilariously long in order to get that. And I understand what you're saying about curse set and all that. I get it. It still kind of takes like forever, and I've tried using her before. And I feel like for the hero, I want to see her do something to the enemy in the debuff status too. Like I want to see her inflict increased damage taken or something. Because
I
I
think
feel
that'd
like
be cool.
all she
Like
does is
Hector's.
just damage.
Well,
Yeah,
it'd be
like
cool if
Hector.
you.
Like
Yeah.
Hector does like more damage and does increased damage taken. You know what I
Yep.
mean? It's just like a flat better hero. And I'm not saying
Mm-hmm.
that she has to be as good as Hector in order to be a good hero. It's just I don't like heroes that only do one thing. It's like I feel like she does one thing well, which is damage. That's
Yeah.
kind of it.
Well, I would like her to be able to ramp more. I like the characters that ramp based on like every hit. Then they do the decreased defense, like Jacob or Imogen, like something along
Yeah,
those lines. Like she needs that as her passive. Then because
agreed.
she needs to be better than Antonua in my opinion, because the legendary should be better than the epic in my opinion
I agree.
by a
Yeah.
decent amount. And the only way she's ever going to do that is if she has that crazy kind of ramping, whether through debuffing or giving herself more and more attack in a passive state, like that, because right now
Defense
she's essentially
pierce or
doesn't no passive.
something. Like
Huh?
just give her like a defense pierce passive or something. You know how like Eve
Yeah,
First Dawn gives like defense to everyone? Just have her where she passively gives herself defense pierce 2 up all the time or something.
yeah,
Make that her passive. Like just get
yeah.
rid of this stupid when she dies, somebody gets the attack for one more turn in Guild Boss before the Guild Boss
Hmm.
one shots everybody. Type of
Yeah,
passive anyway. It's just a nonsense, stupid passive. Get rid of that. Make it something that like randomly inflicts defense down to one random person on the enemy team or something. That would be good
yeah,
too, because then she's good against bosses,
yeah. And
but
so
it's not
because it's
OP
focused
against
on them.
waves.
Yeah,
There,
I like that.
there's a million ways you can do it, dude. I just
Hmm.
feel like the passive is just the stupidest nonsense. But get rid of that, and she's a good hero.
I agree. Because that's the thing she's missing. So even though like the rest of her kit, great. Just keep what they do with the rest of her kit is fantastic. I just want to. And
Yeah,
then
no, I'm
lastly,
fine with the ramping and all that. That's all fine.
yeah.
Just the dying doesn't make sense. She needs like a debuff or something. She
Hmm.
needs a little more.
So I was thinking, lastly, I wanted to touch on Lightwing Zach
Mm,
because
yeah,
his issue, in my opinion, is okay. So they gave him he has 30% less damage, critical strike steal 30% less damage, but you don't really get crit in PvE content. So it, he's that's a purely PvP passive in my opinion when I see that.
Mhm.
So then he doesn't do enough damage to ever get any out of these tanky teams out of PvP. So where's he going to be used?
I think he is a tanky team guy. I think you put him in revival set where
So
he heals himself
he's like a
every
defensive,
time.
yeah.
Mhm.
And then that's what big feels bad because you get nothing for it. You just annoyed people. That's it.
I mean, I still think there's something to be said, like an impossible to kill Lightwing Zachary, where you put CC, which goes on him, and then every time he takes a bonus turn in revival, he's like healing himself, and he takes less damage because of crit, etc. Like I think there's something to be said for that, like an unkillable monster of a Zachary, but he needs so much setup, and I
Mm-hmm.
he was the first hero I maxed out like entirely, which was really feels bad for the first one. And I used him for a while, but the problem is he's like a flat stat character. He's good until he's not. And then after
Uh-huh.
that, he's just trash. And he in everything else where he like one shots all the minions and PvP early and all that, he's all like fantastic and you feel great about him. And then he hits a wall where it's just like my flat stats, my flat damage don't matter anymore. And it's all about utility and what I bring to the team, and he does none of that, and then he's just garbage, and then you never use him
Mm-hmm.
again.
It's a bummer. Um, I wonder how. Like I was thinking about like maybe combining him with someone that also gains a benefit of bonus turns. I was thinking like Kraser Zug, so he's always going to be
Imogen
getting hit. Imogen would be great. It's just I can't think Imogen because I don't have her. She would be fun to try, like Imogen plus Kraser Zug, and then you're just constantly getting bonus turns. So like the bonus turns proc off all of them. It'd be
would be
fun to
good with
try.
stun set because
Uh huh.
Imogen works like a monster with the stun set. It
Yeah.
actually works like really well. So what it could do is whenever he gets hit, he gets a chance to like cut off the enemy's entire turn, because he goes and then
Mm-hmm.
because of he's going, Imogen's following up, and because Imogen's following up, she's got stun set proc. You could do that plus like God Fairy and some of the other people, put them all in stun set, and then you could just build it like a defensive team that just stalls out your turns. Like would just round out all 6 of the rounds, and you don't even get to take a turn, and then you get
Uh
lightning
huh.
zap. I could see there being some potential there. It's just so it takes so much for so little return
Yes.
with these type of heroes.
Well, I feel like a lot of these heroes they're not going to get much use, but like as more content comes through, then we're going to be like, "Oh, maybe this character's going to fit." So it's going to be up to them to build us a sandbox that actually fits these characters. Kind of like how it Raid is, where it's like now that Void Tower exists, now that Hydra exists, all these heroes that barely got used or
I
maybe
agree.
got used are like great for this content. Like all those bosses, like I really like what they do in the Void Tower there with bosses because
Yeah,
being able to beat those takes all these different heroes. So I think that's what we're missing.
I agree. I mean, because a lot of these kits I like. Like I like Lightwing Zachary's kit. I think it's cool. It's unique. I don't want them to change him. You know what I mean? I
Hmm.
like it. Like I would be sad if they do. He's just not good in the current meta.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Maybe if they change how arena works, it maybe make defensive teams actually matter. Maybe make them not nearly as strong, something like that. Or then we can talk about like actually using all these different heroes for arena. I
Good
don't know.
point.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it when it comes to like the characters I want to talk about. Also, oh, I guess the last thing is gonna be the spell adjustments. I think the most unnecessary thing ever, where they made it to where you can't do 2 in a round in arena.
Unnecessary.
Yeah. And then they nerfed water prison. Makes no sense. And then they nerfed rage aura from 50 to
I
30.
think Water Prison's a PVE nerf.
So like, but like, I don't know. I just didn't think it was, it was a good pass. It wasn't like it was a guaranteed. We're taking it every single time, and like, I just didn't think it was necessary.
I,
Is what I'm trying to say.
I'm not arguing against you. I'm just saying I think
Yeah. Yeah.
their logic is probably they're trying to retain value to buff stripping, because what I've
Okay.
noticed is it seems like they're being very careful with the amount of buffs you can strip. Have you noticed that they've been nerfing that a little bit, and the amount of debuffs you
Uh
can
huh.
strip, stuff like brands all, for instance. And I think what they're doing is they're making buff stripping, debuff removing like a high value thing, because they realize all the value is in buffs and debuffs basically. If I had to
Okay.
guess, because it seems like they're being more and more careful with those type of changes. It's more of like
Okay.
removes one buff, removes
Yeah.
one
Very
debuff.
specifically. I can see that. Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm okay with that, because it makes your Imogen better, and it makes what is it? Because like she's one of the few people that does like the AOE buff remove, and
Yeah, the AoE
Crazy
buffs
Urzog,
removes too.
yeah, and then same with Crazy Urzog, so it's like it puts it
Oh,
only on the rare
actually,
heroes.
it removes one positive effect from all enemies. I thought it was two
Yeah.
positive effects,
Mm.
but it's only one positive effect.
So
So
yeah.
even that one's only one.
All right. Well, I think that's it for this video. I think this is a very encouraging patch, in my opinion, for the future.
It's a good patch.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Especially, I think like character buffs and nerfs are like the best kind of patches that can happen. Especially when they put a whole bunch of them out there. They don't just do like 3 characters. They actually did quite a bit of them. What was this, like 20? Somewhere around there.
And
It
they
was a
all
lot
made
of fun.
sense, except
Yeah.
obviously there's somebody out there that hates berth.
Yeah, straight up,
Like,
Belberth owes him money or something like that. It's just crazy.
no kidding. It's like acknowledging that the problem, but then not doing anything about it.
Yeah,
It's like, yeah, berth
yeah,
needs a
we know
buff.
he's a problem, but f that guy. He's the worst. You
Yeah,
know.
forget it. Just,
Uh huh.
yeah, fuck berth. He's
Yeah. All right. It's been real. Thanks for coming on. This is a lot of fun. Um, be sure to subscribe to Darth Micro. He covers Awaken Chaos on his second channel, and
You told
yeah.
me that I was gonna be able to plug all my stuff, and that as
Yeah,
my fee
I
for
mean,
coming on here.
OnlyFans,
Guys, like, comment, subscribe for more Minecraft.
yeah, Minecraft Let's Plays. We got his main channel.
That's where you gotta
Download it.
cut
Use
the
his blue
video right
stacks.
there.